All right, let's say you meet someone really special and both of you are jiving. Like the chemistry is incredible. You're having a blast together. And let's say it's a couple months down the road in this relationship and you both just know that there's a future. You both can sense it. So it's at this point in the relationship that the tough questions need to have answers. And those tough questions can consist of, do you want to have children or don't you? Do you want to live local and create a family around family members, or do you want to move away and maybe to a completely different state and push reset? Right? Some of these questions are really important to make sure that both people are aligned together for the future that they ultimately want. So there's no friction. And it's best to ask these questions early enough in the relationship before things get much harder and more difficult, and they find out later that they weren't aligned and it's detrimental to that relationship. And just like a real relationship with two people, you yourself also have a relationship to yourself, and where your life needs to be aligned with how you think, how your belief system, to take action toward a purpose. And if you don't have alignment in your own life and you don't ask yourself your own tough questions, like your thoughts and why you think the way you think about certain things, and your belief system, maybe your belief system around money and why you think it's difficult to make, and that's the root of all evil, and that is stopping you from making more money in your life and staying in this low income poverty type of reality that you're in. It's asking the tough questions sooner rather than later that can help you accelerate your life and ultimately become the person that you need to be and want to be in this life for the future in the life that you want to have and manifest. And so alignment is really important, and understanding how to align God's will with your purpose and all the different elements that come along, which we'll talk about, can absolutely change your entire life and finally make you feel fulfilled where you might be feeling empty. My name is Jason DiRienzo. I'm a life alignment coach, and this is the perfect opportunity to talk about something that I think is so important. How do you align your life to get to where you want to be, to finally be the person that you are always thinking about, that person who's confident and not always saying yes to people and not suffering from being a people pleaser and not having to just, do the things that you don't want to do just to fit in and have people respect and like you, to finally take chances and take risks that you take with intuitive action, where you almost can just understand and feel and sense the word of God, and you know that you are on the right track. How do you do all this without actually losing yourself in the process and freaking yourself out? Because some people have a difficult time when it comes to change, but it doesn't have to be difficult. It can be fun, and it can be easy, and it can be as easy as just changing your thoughts, your beliefs to lead you to action that will lead you to your purpose. And that can happen immediately. I'm talking overnight. You can start this process and be on track toward the life that you want. So how do you do this? Well, this is perfect because that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. Okay, so what are the main elements of having alignment in your life? Well, the first thing is making sure that you have an understanding of what God's will is for your life. So everybody's been given a personal skill set. And that skill set is something that you do very easily with the least amount of effort. Well, Steve Harvey also defines this as your purpose. The thing that you do, that comes so natural to you, that is so easy for you, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. It actually feels right when you use this particular skill set. Well, the way that you can actually make sure that you are aligned with your purpose is making sure that you are aligning your life to actually get there. So most of you can identify what I'm talking about, that you have these skills. God's given you a gift, but are you using it? And are you maximizing that gift? Are you serving others with that gift? And if you're not, you probably feel that emptiness. You probably feel like, man, I know there's more to this life. I know I can do more than what I'm doing right now. Right? So that alignment in your life comes between four different things. And let's look at the alignment as a table. And a table has four legs to it, right? So we have one leg being your thoughts, another leg being your beliefs, another leg being the actions that you take, and another leg being your purpose. Imagine if one of those legs was shorter than the others, it would wobble, right? So if you're not aligned and those legs aren't perfectly aligned with each other, it can cause friction and misbalance, just like your personal life. Let's say one of those legs is completely removed. Let's take action out of it. Let's say you have the right thoughts and you have the right belief system, but you actually never take action toward your purpose. Well, the whole thing is going to become unstable, and that table at some point is going to completely fall over. And sometimes that happens to us in our own life. We might have the right thoughts, we might want to change our belief system, but we just never take action. Maybe you want to do something that involves you getting a certification and learning a little bit more, but you say, "Oh, I'll do it one day," and you never do. Well, then everything is going to stay exactly the same. You're going to be stuck. And at some point, you're going to get so frustrated with yourself. That's when a lot of people look to other things to fulfill that need. Drugs, sex, bad relationships. And then you hit that rock bottom. The table comes completely over and tips completely over and falls because an important leg is completely missing. So how do we get our alignment with this table on track? Well, I want to tell you a brief story about a 40-year-old nurse named Mia. Mia, on the outside, she has a good job. She's a nurse. She's well respected. She's known as being very compassionate. She gets paid pretty well. And on the outside looking in, it doesn't look like Mia has a bad life. But deep down, Mia feels like there's more. She's not as satisfied. And because she's known as being compassionate and she's well respected, she also suffers from being a people pleaser, which I talked about in one of my previous videos. And by suffering from this, she is constantly taking on shifts that have her working more. And she's constantly working more hours and she's working overtime and she's exhausting herself. One of the problems is that Mia's thoughts and beliefs are completely misaligned, and it's making her actually work harder, burn herself out, and she thinks she has to do this to get somewhere, but in turn she actually doesn't. So what does that look like? Let's look at Mia's current situation and why Mia feels so empty. One of the reasons is that Mia knows that she's been given a gift to help others, to serve others, and she feels like she's doing it with this nursing. But she's always had this dream of being a coach and actually doing one-on-one sessions and helping people and having a little bit more control over her own schedule so she can be more available for the people that she truly wants to help. See, Mia has a dream of creating her own business. Mia can see herself in these moments of helping others and having more freedom in her life. But the problem that Mia is facing is that she's not aligned. And she's not aligned with, one, understanding the gift that God gave her. She knows it, but she's not maximizing it or using it. She also has the wrong thoughts. She also has the wrong beliefs, which are stopping her from taking action, which is stopping her from fulfilling her purpose. So let's quickly look at Mia's thoughts and why those are holding her back. So currently, Mia feels that she should just be grateful for the job that she has. And part of it, she's not wrong. She really should. You should always look and just be thankful and grateful for what you have, especially if she's got a good job as a nurse. She had to get there by, working pretty hard. I mean, I have a lot of respect for nurses and what it takes to become one. But Mia still just doesn't feel fulfilled. And her current thought process is that she has to work really hard. Her current thought process has her feeling like she should just be grateful and not think that it's okay to dream bigger and pursue something else because she should just have gratitude toward what she has right now. But that thought is stopping Mia from pursuing something that is really important to her. And that thought is also stopping Mia from maximizing the gift and the skill set that God gave her, that she feels so deeply. She also has the current thoughts of fear. So every time she thinks about being a coach, she also thinks to herself, well, what if I fail? What if I leave this job and I ultimately try to start this career and I find out I'm not good enough? What if I actually sit down, get in front of people, try to help them, but I'm not good at it? What if I actually do them more harm than good? What if I completely fail at this and I wasted my life and then I got to start all over again? Like, all fear thoughts are going through Mia's head, which is absolutely normal. The brain naturally wants to keep us safe. So it's telling Mia stories that have no facts to back it up. I mean, let's face it, there are just as many facts that Mia could be great at this as there are that she could fail. It's just natural that the brain doesn't go toward the positive thoughts of, wow, I could do really well at this. Wow, I have a gift for this. Wow, I know that once I sit down in front of somebody and actually listen to them and, figure out what I can do to help them, that I'm going to better their life. Like, those thoughts don't come. It's the negative thoughts. That is the brain's default setting to make you safe, to keep you safe, to stop you from getting outside your comfort zone and staying exactly where you are so you don't do anything to quote unquote harm yourself. It's normal. But the thoughts that Mia is currently having, the stories that she's telling herself that have no facts to back it up, are stopping her from actually moving in a direction and feeling like she could, actually pursue becoming a coach, which is also stopping her belief system, which is not aligned with her thoughts. So what does Mia's belief system look like that is also misaligned? Okay, so what are Mia's current beliefs and why are they stopping her from taking action? Well, Mia currently thinks that she has to work really hard to get anywhere in life. She has to take additional shifts in order for people to like her. So her current belief system is that she always has to say yes to things that she probably truly doesn't want to do or is too tired to do. But that's the only way she's going to get respect from people and people are going to like her, is to always say yes to things that she ultimately doesn't want to do. She has to work additional hours and work really, really hard to get anywhere in life. Well, the problem is that Mia's current belief system is also exhausting her, and she doesn't have enough energy to take on the next step, which is taking action. So her current thoughts are of fear. Her belief system is wrapped around working really, really hard and also feeling like she always has to do things that she just doesn't have the energy for or doesn't want to do in order to gain respect or get anywhere in life. And all of that is absolutely taking away the energy and time that she needs in order to take action toward the thing that she ultimately wants to do in life. So we know her thoughts, we know her beliefs. What actions are currently holding Mia back that are stopping her from pursuing this dream that she has and this ideal image of a person that she ultimately wants to be? Well, we already know that her current actions are just exhausting herself with overworking herself. Constantly taking on 14, 16-hour shifts, like that is just going to burn her out. And unfortunately for Mia, she's also taking away the energy and the clarity of mind by not allowing herself the rest to be available for the people that she ultimately wants to help, even in her nursing job. Her current actions are her, let's say that at the end of the day, she's exhausted when she gets home. She kind of wants to just numbs herself out. So she binge watches Netflix, has a glass of wine, and goes to bed. And the next morning, she just gets up and repeats the whole thing over again. It becomes a vicious cycle. These are Mia's current actions that are not doing anything toward helping her toward the dream life that she ultimately desires. Her current actions are keeping her exactly where she is right now. So knowing all this, where her thoughts, her beliefs, and her actions are, where does this lead to her purpose? Her purpose is currently held hostage to the exhaustion, the fear, the lack of beliefs that are going to lead her toward getting to where she wants to be in life. They're all just kind of suffocating in her current image of a life, when ultimately what she needs to do is align the legs of her table. She needs to align her thoughts, her beliefs, her actions to become having that purpose in her life of ultimately starting her own business and becoming a coach and having more freedom in her life. Having more freedom and control over her finances. So how does Mia end up doing this? It comes to a point where she's got a really tough decision to make. And that decision comes at, a time that she didn't even expect it. So one night, Mia's driving home from a 15-hour shift, and she's going over this bridge, and she just loses it. She's at her tipping point. She can't take it anymore. She pulls over to the side, of the road, and just starts breaking down. She's at her boiling point. She just can't do it. She's exhausted. She's tired. She has this dream, but she has no idea how it's ever going to happen. She just feels lost, right? She should be grateful for the job and everything that she has, but it's just so hard when she knows that there's more that she could be doing. There's more to this life, and she feels it and she knows it. So she looks up and she says, God, I can't take it anymore. I surrender. I need you to take over. Take the steering wheel. I can't do it anymore, because if I keep going like this, I don't know what's going to happen. She completely just surrenders, and she knows that something's got to change. Well, the very next morning, it's not like Mia quit her job. It's not like Mia just started and opened up a new business, but she started changing her thought process. She realized that she doesn't have to think like this. And knowing that God has her back and reminding herself of this goes a really long way toward Mia having trust and faith in the entire process of rewiring herself. And Dr. Joe Dispenza always says this, and he says it perfectly, that if you want to change your current reality, your personal reality, you have to change your personality. And that's exactly what Mia started to do. She changed her thoughts. Every time she had a negative thought of fear that was going to stop her from thinking that she would do great in the, as a coach, she reversed it. She would say, I'm going to be awesome at this. I cannot wait to help other people. I can imagine myself opening this business and everything is going to go phenomenal. She kept making it a positive. Whatever thought it was that was negative, she would just twist it and turn it into a positive, which helped start aligning her belief system. She realized that she doesn't always have to say yes. She doesn't always have to overwork herself for people to respect her and to get anywhere in life, because ultimately, where is she trying to get to in life if she keeps working really hard? She didn't see that path. She didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but she saw it within the dream. She saw it within the purpose. And that was well worth more to her than where she was currently going. See, when she looked at what's the worst outcome, staying exactly where I am right now, or taking a chance to ultimately get to this life I want. What's a more dangerous situation to be in? When she looked at her current life, she knew, reminding herself of what happened on that bridge, that it was definitely staying in the current situation. So her belief system all started to change. She started believing that she didn't have to work hard, and she just had to have trust and faith in the process of life, and that she just had to trust herself and her own judgment and have confidence in herself and trust God that He was going to fulfill the will that He had on her life with the skill set and gifts that He gave her. She had to trust that, and she started doing that. She changed her entire belief system, which also now led to her action. Because she had more positive thoughts, because she rewired her belief system, she was getting more rest. She wasn't taking on those additional hours and helping people, or taking on overtime and helping people with hours and filling in shifts. With that additional time, she was able to get more rest, which helped her get more clarity, which helped her take more action toward what she ultimately wanted to do. She had more time to do research and study and gain more knowledge toward the thing that she wanted to do. And every time she sat down to read a book about her passion, about helping people and learning about more of the psychology and everything that she needed as far as the tool set to make her great at this, she never felt like it was work. She couldn't wait to get into another book. And it also gave her time to finally sign up and get her certification as a coach, as a life coach. And she finally got that taken care of. Where a couple months down the road, she was taking some of that time in between of going on social media with that extra time that she had, finding certain blogs where people were talking about certain issues that they were facing, and just sending them messages, uplifting them, motivating them, sending them things that made them feel really good, to the point where they were reaching out and asking her, hey, do you do any one-on-one coaching sessions? I really appreciate and I love the things that you've been saying. She was taking on clients just by having more time to interact with people that she ultimately just was helping for free. They turned into clients, which helped her build her business. And just in 6 months, she got everything in order. She was able to remove herself from her nursing and transition smoothly into being a coach and having the life that she ultimately wanted because she aligned herself properly. She aligned her thoughts, her beliefs that led to the actions which manifested the purpose. And she became the person that she needed to be to create this life that she wanted. She was no longer having lack of confidence. She was no longer, dealing with being a people pleaser and saying yes all the time. She knew who she needed to be. And because she was getting more rest and she had more clarity, she was taking care of herself now. And it ultimately felt like a huge weight lifted off her shoulders. She was happier. She was lighter. She was having fun in life. And that all happened because she finally released herself. And as soon as she trusted God and knew that she was going to be able to use the gifts that God gave her in order to serve others, see, she did it from an unselfish place. A lot of times when you look at people who are using their gifts for selfishness, it usually doesn't end very well because that's not what they're meant for. They're meant to serve others. That's ultimately what we're here for, is to be available, love, and serve others. And some of you may be listening to that and be like, dude, I don't want to serve others. Why? Look, everything that has happened good in your life probably came because somebody else helped you along the way. And that's what it's all about, right? A lot of times, if you look back at your own life, somebody or a couple people helped you become the person that you are right now from just doing an active good deed. And that's where this all comes from. That's where the gifts come from. So we can keep helping each other, fulfilling this need to be more, to have purpose in life. And that's what it's all for. So anyway, Mia's story is so impactful and so incredible and so motivating. And I hope it helps you all understand that the alignment in your life is so important, but it starts by asking yourself the hard questions, the questions that you just ignore. They need answers, and you need to be honest with yourself. But you got to start asking yourself the hard questions. What are my thoughts and why do I think them? What are my belief systems and why do I believe them? Jeremiah 29:11 says it perfectly. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not harm you. See, Mia, in that moment, she surrendered. She let go. And she just knew that God had her back, that there was so much more to this life, and she just needed to trust and have faith, because ultimately God does not want to harm us. Sometimes we have to go through really difficult lessons and overcome that adversity to become a better version of ourselves, to learn the lessons in life that we need in order to become a person who's much stronger and has more mental toughness and has more confidence, because we had to overcome something. And sometimes those trials are really, really important to the development of becoming a new version of ourselves that is going to be ready for the life that we want. And God always has a plan. It's never to harm. It's always to help us prosper. He talks about abundance all over the Bible, and that's the life that he wants for us. And that's the life that Mia found after aligning everything together. And I hope this video helps you guys. If any of you out there need some guidance, need some help, again, this is my passion. This is what I love doing. I love serving others and helping them find alignment and a life that they truly want so they can identify their purpose. So if you want some help, put in the comments, just say, I'm ready, and I will reach out and I'll be happy to help you. But I hope this video assists you all in finding what you need to do, asking the questions you need to ask to help you get aligned and finally get the life that you ultimately want.